I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. And today I'm talking about music. Music has been my savior in this life. It's something that has gotten me through some tough times, and a lot of memories are attached to songs. I just absolutely love music, and I think the world's just such a better place with music. And I'm going to talk about some of my favorites and some other things about the topic. So I'll be right back. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. Every Friday I check iTunes for new songs, and I hope that there's something that resonates with me. And a lot of times I check certain artists to see if anything's interesting's released. I tend to be devoted to my older artists that I've listened to for years, my tried and trues. A lot of our older stars are still putting out great music. It's such a shame that they have no outlet for their music. Back when we were kids, it was VH1 for the older artists, and that was kind of a joke. You didn't want to be caught dead watching VH1, right? But honestly, music has changed so much over the last few decades. Of course, rock and roll is not the big thing anymore. It's hip-hop, and I'm not a fan of hip-hop at all. No offense to anybody who likes it. It just doesn't resonate with me at all. And I tend to like great pop music with hooks, and I like upbeat stuff. I like downbeat stuff. But there's been a lot of music that just got ignored over the last decade or so. I don't think kids, and that's natural, I don't think they delve into the past very much. Now, they do listen to classic rock and roll, but the classic stations tend to favor just certain songs, and they only expose certain artists. I hope kids check into genres and stuff and try to discover people they never heard of. I hope they just don't regulate themselves to artists that like Journey and who are great, but there's way more to oldies than Africa by Toto and Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. There's so many great songs that were recorded over the last few decades, and I hope they find even like Frank Sinatra and Doris Day and Dean Martin, and I hope this music lives on forever for future generations, because I full well remember being a teenager and only listening to what was on Top 40 radio and not being interested in anything else. And as I grew older and got bored or didn't identify with the music that was being served to me, I sought out other recordings. And thank God for the movies of the 90s and 2000s that used classic pop records from Sinatra and the like in their movie soundtracks, because I think that's where I was exposed to a lot of songs that I would have normally not listened to. My dad was older and he was from that era, and I didn't want to listen to his music. That's his music. But as I got older, I appreciated and grew to love those songs. I love songs from that era too. Excuse me. But what I find interesting, though, most of all, is the ageism in radio. Do they even do adult contemporary stations anymore? And adult contemporary is, what's it considered now? Because, for instance, they just released a Kenny Rogers album of unreleased songs, and it's really good. I really like it. but I don't think it's getting any airplay from country or anything. That's a shame. There was a great duet with Dolly Parton, Olivia Newton-John, of Jolene from her album, Just Us Two, a duets album she posthumously released, or her people posthumously released. She was actually working on that before she passed. And it's full of a great cross-section of released duets and some unreleased gems. And it's got some really good songs on it as well. And again, no airplay. The Jolene duet is just amazing. And I don't think country radio touched it. I think it did right in sales at first, but it kind of faded away. And that's a shame because their voices blend very well, and I wish they could have performed more together. That would have been awesome. Olivia had recorded Jolene on her Come On Over album back in 1976, and her version's a little more robust than Dolly's original version, which is a little more subdued. But yeah, these stars are just not getting the attention they deserve. So, I mean, if you look up a lot of classic stars, they have been Pat Benatar has recorded over the years, and nothing, no attention whatsoever. It's just sad. Of course, kids just are like, ooh, they're old. That's such a bad attitude to take, but it's natural. I would have done the same thing. But I wish there was a place for our older stars to get their music heard. It's just a shame that there's not at least not a very well promoted place. I actually miss the music channels, the videos and stuff. They were great promotion tools for music. And I don't know. I find this just a travesty, actually. Music's just been one of the most wonderful things in my life. It's kept me kind of sane, and I always, like, for instance, when I was walking, I would do a playlist of songs. Oh, and I just, I've got to where I don't care what people don't like and what I'm not supposed to listen to. I remember years ago, there was a backlash against disco music, and they burned records. This was in the late 70s. Burned disco records and made it kind of unhip to like disco music. And actually, it worked very effectively. And this is before the internet and everything. This was absolutely word of mouth. People were sick of disco, basically. And a bunch of rock fans got together at a stadium, I believe in Ohio, and burned. Was it Ohio? I think I'm confusing two stories. I'd have to look that up. But they burned a bunch of rock disco albums. Got together and they were burning the Bee Gees, and then it destroyed the Bee Gees' career, actually. Absolutely they quit playing them on the radio. It was really an awful time, and I remember not liking the Bee Gees because it wasn't popular like the Bee Gees. You're just not supposed to like them. We were very swayed by popular opinion. But over the years, I rediscovered the Bee Gees, and I grew up with them. They unfairly got labeled disco because of Saturday Night Fever, but they were really, Barry Gibb is a genius songwriter and a very talented man and a very good group. And I'm sorry I'm sorry I went with the popular opinion, but now I listen to them. I just listen to what turns me on. I don't care if you like it or not. It's my business. With headphones, I can listen to what I want and not nobody know what I'm listening to. Although, it's so much fun to hear a favorite song on the radio. I think you just turn it up, It's just an amazing experience to know that everybody's listening to the same song you are. And I hate that. It's like my music is elevator music now. They play it in grocery stores and stuff, but it's still, we have a radio at Huck's. Oh, I said Huck's. That's okay. I have a radio at work. Oops. Have a radio at work, and it plays a lot of my favorites. And sometimes when I'm having a bad day, like Olivia Newton-John, again, I mentioned her, comes on, and I just stop, and it kind of calms you down a little bit. It's kind of nice, you know. They actually play Magic a lot by Olivia Newton-John, and that's my favorite song of hers. It just makes me stops me in my tracks and makes me relax. Hey, that rhymes. Well, I'm going to take a break here, and I will talk more about this subject. I have a lot to say. I'll be right back. This is Leonard Riggs. This is From My Head to Your Ears. I'm Leonard Riggs, and I'm back, and this is my podcast, From My Head to Your Ears. And pardon my deep voice, I am recording this first thing in the morning, and my voice is a lot deeper in the morning when I first wake up. I should have called my podcast From My Bed to Your Ears, because I record everything from bed, just because I'm relaxed. I can stretch out. That's what I love about podcasting. So you didn't know that. That's a vision in your head now, isn't it? Sorry about that. But I'm talking about music, and the inspiration today for this podcast was, I was looking at the new music list on Apple iTunes, and I saw a song by Jenny Lewis, who was in a group called Rilo Kiley in the 2000s, and they had a great album called Under the Black Light. And Jenny was a child actress. She appeared in a lot of TV shows and stuff back when she was a child. But the song is called Psychos, and if I check out a song and the opening grabs me, I know I'm going to love it, and instant classic for me. And her song Psychos was that song of the day for me, and that's how I find new music. I just go through, and that's what I love about music platforms like iTunes and Spotify. You can find music that you didn't know even was out there, and it's a great thing. Isn't it wonderful that we have stuff so instantaneously available? Because I would have never found that had it been a record store thing. Used to, years ago, before digital music, I would go to we had ample record stores. We had two big malls in Southern Illinois, the Marion Mall and the Carbondale Mall, and I'd go and 4 record stores, which was just like I was a kid in a candy shop. There were so many choices, and I would just look through and see artists, new artists, and if the album cover looked interesting, I'd buy it. I discovered Chris Isaak he had a radio hit, but it wasn't my. Wicked Game is not my favorite Chris Isaak song. I just, for some reason, I just bought his album Silvertone and was like, holy crap, he's more of a, rockabilly kind of guy? I don't know what genre you'd put him in. He's nothing like I thought he was. I thought he was just a pretty boy singer, but as it turns out, he does like a lot of upbeat stuff. He's got a lot of style. He's an interesting vocalist. He's a talented musician, and he's a funny guy. I mean, he's more David Letterman than he's George Michael. I mean, he's really a lot of fun, and I ended up going back and buying all of his albums, and I'm a huge fan. I named my cat Isaac after him. So, and then there was Norah Jones. I found this new album, and it come away with me back whenever that was first released, before anybody talked about her. I'm very proud of that one, and I played it at the store when I worked midnight shifts, and people would stop and go, who are you listening to? And I'd be like, her name's Norah Jones. She's a great artist, and I think she's going to go places. And they were like, oh, I like that. What was the name of that album again? And I'm so proud of that moment. And I remember talking to the lady about that. And I said that, and then later on she won just about every Grammy across the board, the Grammy Awards. That album blew up, and Norah Jones also is still recording. She's putting out she has a podcast. I wish I could remember the name of it, but look up Norah Jones, her podcast. She sings with different artists, and she puts out new songs from the podcast every week. And plus, she's had a lot of albums. She's recorded continuously. They're just not getting the attention they should. And that's irritates me to no end. But I mentioned Kenny Rogers earlier, and I wish I could remember the name of his recording. I tell you what, I'll get back to you on that. I'm going to look it up. But Kenny Rogers does have a new album out, even though he's not with us anymore. I mentioned Olivia Newton-John and her duets album, Volume 1, so she has a Volume 2 coming out. By the way, Olivia recorded a lot of duets over her years, and I know there's at least one more that she recorded that hasn't been released yet, so I'm hoping it's on Volume 2 of that thing. Olivia knew she was passing away and got all of her eggs in one basket and auctioned off her belongings for her cancer hospital, and got her music legacy in order and signed a deal with Primary Wave, who has remastered several of her albums and got her older albums on iTunes and music platforms. And I think that's great, because hopefully people can discover there was way more to her than Grease, and she had many, many, many hits on country radio early on. So it's just a matter of finding these things. So if you're bored and you want music, just browse on your music platforms. You know, every now and then I think, I wonder what ever happened to, let's say, Hall & Oates, and you look and you're like, oh, they put out songs and albums, later, and they're great. So it's just a shame that we're kind of regulated to listening to what they want us to listen to. So just kind of go browse. It's like, it's a lot of fun if you're bored. But I'm going to take a break, and I'll talk more on this subject in just a minute. I'm Leonard Riggs, and this is my podcast from my head to your ears. And I thought I'd take this last segment and just kind of tell you about some new music coming from some older artists that maybe you didn't know about. I've checked out almost all these projects. A lot of them have singles out already. Some of these albums are already released, and I think they're all worthy of attention. First of all, Never Gonna Give You Up, Rick Astley. I think he's a great singer. Never Gonna Give You Up was a lot of fun back in the 80s. A lot of people will think it's annoying. I don't. I had those albums. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but he's been putting out music for a while, and he's totally different than he used to be. Rick Astley actually is a fine musician and puts on a good show. He just did Glastonbury in the UK and performed a lot of different kinds of songs that showcased his talents. He was kind of a manufactured pop singer at first by Stock Aitken Waterman, and when that faded, he got married, had a family, and then the whole Rick rolling thing kind of brought him back to the forefront. But he did record several albums over the years, including I think his third album, which was Free. Maybe I'm wrong about that. He kind of took the reins in his own hands and didn't use Stock Aitken Waterman anymore. And he was a totally different artist than the manufactured sound of his early songs. But I like those songs. They're a lot of fun. They're very 80s. But his new album is called Are We There Yet? And his first single is Dipping My Feet. The album comes out October 6th. And, well, the first song, Dipping My Feet, is actually kind of a country song, actually. And I really like it. So check it out on iTunes or Spotify or wherever. Rick Springfield is coming back with an album called Automatic on August 4th. And the first single is Automatic. It's a rocker, let me tell you. He's still got it. He's in his 70s now. And he's still touring and still making music, so check that out. Norah Jones has her podcast, which is Norah Jones is Playing Along, and she does duets with various artists, and they're really good duets, and they're very, very good, and you can check out all her stuff on music platforms, iTunes, Spotify, so on and so forth. She also has a brand new single out. Not sure, I'll have to kind of investigate, but it's called Can You Believe? And I'm thinking it might be coming up for a new album. I'm not sure. I've talked about Jenny Lewis, Rilo Kiley. Her album is called Joy Y'all, and it's out already. And the first single is Psychos, and I really like it. I haven't listened to the album yet, but I do like the first single. I really liked her past work with Rilo Kiley, so I'm really looking forward to that. I believe she had a solo album before. If you don't know her, I explained to her earlier in the podcast that she used to be a child star. Now she's a singer. Kenny Rogers' new album is called Life is Like a Song, and it's out now. And the single is Catching Butterflies. And it features a lot of songs from the vaults of Kenny Rogers' estate. And it's included a Dolly Parton duet, among other things. And I think Dolly has recorded with everybody, but I love Dolly Parton. But I was just listening to this album, and it's really, really good. I really like it. It's good to hear Kenny Rogers sing. I always did like his voice. I mentioned Olivia Newton-John. Her new latest album is called Just the Two of Us, Volume 1. Originally, it was supposed to be released as a huge album with 32 tracks, with duets spanning her career from 1980 all the way to now. Actually, the first single was Window in the Wall with her daughter Chloe. The album kept getting put back because of Olivia's health, and she sang a song with Paul Anka, Put Your Head on My Shoulders, the classic song. And that, again, promoted the album. There was a video, and there is a video. You can look it up. It's an animated video. It's kind of cute with them two singing. But the third single is the duet with Dolly Parton again, Jolene, and it's amazing. I really was thrilled to hear that. Like I said, I wish she could have recorded more with Dolly Parton. I'm not sure what Volume 2 is going to bring. I'm excited. Hopefully there's some surprises. There was a few surprises in this one. There's a lot of oldie duets with John Travolta, Take a Chance from their Two of a Kind soundtrack, the movie they did, the follow-up to Grease that didn't do very well, and Suddenly from Xanadu, and songs with Barry Gibb, and Mariah Carey, which is a live version of Hopelessly Devoted to You that was sang in one of her concerts. That was a lot of fun. Jason Mraz has a new album. I love Jason Mraz. He's an artist from the early 2000s. A lot of fun. One of the fastest singers in the world. His album is out now. I forgot to get the name of it. Dang it. I apologize for that, but there's a really good song on it called Pancakes and Butter. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a humorous love song, and I really enjoyed it. It's on my playlist. And then there's, speaking of Stock Aitken Waterman, their other big artist of the 80s was Kylie Minogue. Kylie has become a huge superstar around the world. Not so much in the United States for some reason. She's still recording, and she's had a new hit called Padam Padam. And you're wondering what that is. That's the sound your heart makes. Padam, padam, padam. It's kind of become a TikTok phenomenon. And she had her first top 10 with it in the UK in many, many years. Kylie's in her mid-50s. She's a breast cancer survivor. And she's still absolutely gorgeous. And she has just gotten better. She's like a fine wine. She gets better with age. Her last few albums have been amazing. Her new album is called Tension, and it'll be out September 22nd. And I think Padam Padam has been released to American radio. Will it be played? Probably not, because Kylie is in her mid-50s, and they just don't play older artists anymore, especially female older artists, but it is a big hit in the clubs. It's a lot of fun. You can look that up. It's on all the music platforms. I wish I could recommend more. I maybe do another one of these music podcasts. I really enjoy getting out there, giving recommendations to new music. I apologize. I'm out of a certain medication I take, and my nerves are a little bit shot, and I'm having trouble talking. Hopefully I can get that straightened out. If my voice seems shaky, that's because it is. I'm a little more woke up too, by the way. I had to stop my podcast for a while and visit my sister and feed my cats, and my mom just woke up. So I'm going to go take care of my mom, and I'm going to put the finishing touches on this podcast. And I hope I gave you some really good recommendations on music. I may do a Spotify only version of this podcast and play the music I was talking about. Again, you'll only be able to hear it on Spotify, which is a shame, but you can sample the songs I'm talking about if you don't have time to go check them out yourself. And anyway, I'm always up for finding new music because I hate just living in the oldies section. And I just can't do music aimed to our youth. Like I said, the only song of late that I've really found any value in is Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. I can't say that. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So I'm Leonard Riggs. This is my podcast, and you've been listening to From My Head to Your Ears. This is actually kind of from my ears to your ears, actually. But I thank you for listening, and I will come back with another podcast. And like I said, I may do that special edition. So I'm giving you a Southern Illinois goodbye, where you don't say goodbye, you just keep talking and keep waving. So I'm just going to stop this right now, okay? Thank you for listening.